Hi, Skip here. I hope this video finds you well, that life is good. It's all good things. We are in the midst of a mega trend, whether you recognize it or not. There's some things that are exploding, and this is an amazing time to be alive and to be in business. You know, there's so much going on in the world, and of course we've got the pandemic and whatnot that's hit, and everybody concerned about it. For good reason. For good reason. That said, there is so much beyond that, and there's so much down the road here that we can take advantage of. So many people are wanting change. They're wanting very real change. They don't want to be stuck where they're at. And you may be one of those people. You know, an awful lot of people are depending on the hourly wage. How much can you earn in an hour? You're trading your time for money, and that's okay. A lot of hardworking people making a living and whatnot. I'm not disparaging any of that, but there's so many people that really want something more. There's so many people that really want to get something out of life to where they can be independent. They can have the choices that they want. They can have time freedom, financial freedom, and all those things. I'm going to talk about a few very simple things, and what I'm doing in this video is I'm opening some doors for you. There is so much that I want to go into in this particular video. I'm not going to take a long time with it, but I want to cover a few ideas here that I think can make a real difference if you really stop and ponder what I have to share with you. I'm going to talk about three primary things. I'm going to talk about what is the big secret behind the success of the mega companies. If you look at Amazon and Google and Facebook and whatnot, why did they become so big, billions of dollars, at a time when a whole lot of other people wanted to do the same thing? What's the difference? What's the secret? What's the secret sauce? How come they became so big and so many others just come up short? What's the difference? The other thing I want to talk about is the whole concept of vision, of understanding not just an idea, a passing thought, a dream that you might have on some level, but a true vision that can really manifest itself in your life. And the other thing, and we're going to touch on that just a little bit, and then the other thing is, where do you start with all these things if you're a person who really wants to experience these changes? Where do you start? What do you do to make a difference? And let me just roll this out. This is a statistic. It's not my number. It's just a true statistic. And actually, I think that reality is worse than the statistic suggests. 96% of the people who launch into something new and try to go online and make a business work, 96% fall short. They never make it. They never make more than $100, or they never make even close to the time and financial investment that they may have made to get to where they are, and they have not succeeded and not even come close. And they're going to disappear, disappointed, and and very unfortunate. That means that only 4% ever actually make it, and the people who achieve what they really set out to do and are able to fulfill that vision for their life and their future, 4%, and only a percentage of the 4% really make the big numbers. Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody has to want huge numbers and live in a mansion and drive Ferraris and all that kind of stuff, because that's not necessarily life for everybody. I particularly wouldn't really care for a Ferrari. They're beautiful. I'd probably get so many tickets and I'd be broke overnight just for tickets. There's some things that don't necessarily match your lifestyle. So what is the lifestyle that you have, that you want, that you are willing to invest in? Here's the first number one secret. When you look at the millions of people who attempt to be big in business, to achieve something more, if you look at the really big picture of it all, very few people are willing to do what it takes. To those people who really succeeded, what did they do to make it happen? And how many of us are willing to follow suit and do what they did to get there? Let me suggest to you that across the board, one of the things that anybody can do is you start out with a mentor. You start out with somebody that does what you want to do. And by the way, sometimes, if you want to be Warren Buffett or some other big name, Bill Gates, or you want to make it to that kind of level, they're not necessarily going to sit down with you, and if they did, it'd cost you a fortune. There's people along the way that can bring you toward what you really want. There are lessons to be learned. There's ways to gain what those people have that you want and need. There's ways to gain that information and put yourself in that position that qualifies you to move forward. It gives you the tools. It starts out with mindset. One of the biggest secrets is the right mindset. If you're one of those who is, happy where you're at, that's great. But there's an awful lot of people who are making an hourly income. They're on a salary. They might be consultants making a reasonable living, but they're still wanting more and not knowing how to break through and get to that place where they make more. There's an awful lot of people in a lot of categories that are just unhappy with where they are and they want to change. Well, so what are some of the basics that are done, the kind of the secret sauce again, of the really big names? The people behind those had more than just a dream or a vision. They had the gut willingness to press forward, not afraid to fail, because most people who have really made it big have failed a few times along the way. A lot of lessons that can be learned through failure. And I'm not necessarily saying that everybody has to go through one layer of failure after another. What I am suggesting is this, that if you look at the real successes in life, you look at the motivational speakers who offer real sound advice, are you tapping into that resource as a place to start? Are you tapping into the resources that can show you what you need to make progress and move away from where you're at to where you want to be? Success is the daily realization of a worthwhile goal or ideal. I love that explanation of what success is. Well, if that's the case, then what are you doing today? What can you do today to start that process to where you get to where you really want to be? What do you need to learn? Well, the basic reality is that it's all about mindset. It is about having a mindset that says, you know what? I can do this. And I can take on the challenges, because I promise you, whatever you do, I don't care what the field of endeavor is, if you really want to be successful, you're going to run into some challenges. There's speed bumps along the way. There's some things that you'll reach a point where you say it's impossible to move beyond where I'm at. Well, guess what? Here's a word for you: frustration. Frustration is one of the greatest things ever. Embrace frustration. Because what frustration really means, if you're experiencing frustration, whatever the level, what it means is you're making progress. Because you wouldn't be frustrated if you weren't up against something and actually getting that experience of a challenge to you and trying to break through. I used to teach some music classes years ago, and I was managing a music store. And I taught these keyboarding classes and whatnot. And I remember one particular individual approached me and said, "Oh, I'm so frustrated. I just can't do this. I'm going to have to drop out." And this lady was, a sweet lady. She really wanted to be there. She bought a very expensive instrument and all that kind of stuff, and she really wanted to learn to play it. But she got to a point where she was just frustrated. And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, great." And the look on her face when I said that was like, "Are you kidding me? Did you hear what I said? I'm frustrated. I'm gonna quit." And I said, "Well, number one, frustration means that you're in a process on the other side of which you're going to feel so great that you overcame it. What you feel in accomplishing something is tremendous. When you know that you can overcome a challenge that wiped out a whole lot of other people. They didn't meet that challenge. They never experienced that frustration, and they never experienced the success that comes with it. But frustration spells success. It really does. And if you don't come up against some frustration along the way, you're toast. You haven't tried hard enough. That's just a reality. So embrace frustration, because it's a very real process. And these people who make it big, trust me, they've been frustrated along the way for various reasons. So number one, you have to put yourself in a position where you're willing to face those frustrations, take on the challenge, and move through. It's learning, education, changing the mind, transformation of the mind. That, if you want to conform to what the whole rest of the world does, that's your choice. But if you really want to make a difference, transformation of the mind. You have to get a mindset that says you're an overcomer, that says that you're going to beat the system, that you're the one that's going to succeed and you're going to have what you want. Well, then there's this other part about vision. Well, if you're going to bust through all this stuff and you're going to really succeed, you have to have a worthwhile vision, a reason why. You have to take the time and write notes, do a mind map, do whatever you like. By the way, I'll talk about mind maps later in another series, but understand what it is, to break it down and really put together in your mind and in your heart a very real purpose, a real vision. And if you do it right, you will end up serving a purpose that you were probably born for. And you have a vision that can come true. You need a vision. You have to have a vision. You have to have faith in yourself. Faith is a substance of things hoped for. You know what hope is? Hope is a blueprint. It's a blueprint that says, this is the picture This, if I would draw out the dream, the vision that you have for that someday, here your hope, you can have a blueprint. But where do you get that blueprint? You have to. That blueprint is a vision. That's something you look for, that you have in your mind, and you have it in your heart, a vision that is worthwhile investing some time in. And worthwhile, when you come against the frustration, you realize, wait a minute, I know that there's success on the other side of this frustration, but my vision for the future is worth fighting for, and I'll fight for it. And the people who make it big, they do that. They absolutely have to go through those various levels and have that vision. In order to achieve that vision, you have to have a vision. Okay, so be willing to work on it. And by the way, I'll have a lot of material on this, various things you can do, and some videos down the road here. But again, I want to open some doors for you. The other thing is, where do you start? Well, as I mentioned, success is the realization of the daily realization of a worthwhile or ideal or goal. Success is a journey; it's not a destination. You can be successful today if you do something today that is in the interest of what you really want to have. If it means reading a book, Seven Habits of Highly Successful People, Dr. Stephen Covey, great book. One of the great books I read was years ago. It was The 1 Minute Manager. I got some real gems out of that have stuck with me all my life. That are the backbone of how I treat people that I work with. Some great stuff. Along the way, if you invest some time and energy in some of those motivational materials, that's what the guys that succeed, that's what they do. They invest themselves in a process where they can learn and they can become a part of that whole concept of motivation. And they're not willing to settle for less. So if you really want to achieve that vision, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the work, but you got to put in the effort. And you start someplace. Now, one of the things that I see a lot of people do, and by the way, I know this in part because I did it. I have watched every video you can possibly imagine on the subject of internet marketing. This is the field I'm in. I love it. I've been in marketing all my life, and I have an awful lot of knowledge about marketing. But all of that knowledge was based mostly on brick and mortar businesses. The concept of what people want, what consumers want, that doesn't change over time. There's certain processes that consumers go through in the buying process. That doesn't change. What changes is the methods of delivery, of how consumers access the products that they want. As a result, there's a difference in how vendors, how people in business might offer the services that people want. So there's a whole lot to be learned in this area of marketing, business and marketing. Just because you've been involved in it doesn't mean you have expertise in the broad range of marketing concepts. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot to be learned when you start to talk about internet marketing and what's working and what isn't. When you go in and you start to look at those videos are done by people, many of them, who have an idea. They may have been slightly successful in a particular area, but the majority of them, the absolute majority of them, have never really made big time. They're really not living the life they want. And they're working themselves to death, they're putting out the videos, they're doing all that, they're working hard, but are they really achieving what they want? You look at, they're doing the videos in their basements, and what have you, which is all fine. Work from home. I'm not begrudging that. That's fine. What I'm really saying is that there's so many of these videos that are put out that give you a piece of the puzzle, but not the whole piece. It's kind of like this. So you want to buy a car. So you go out, you do your research, and you find out what it is to buy the very best tire the industry has to offer. The best. Now you got the tire, but you still need the rest of the vehicle. These individual videos that you can watch and all that can give you bits and pieces. They can give you a tire, a wheel, a steering wheel, an engine, but you got to have something that is all together, the whole system of things, and understand the system. This means, what it means is, you're going to have to take some time to do some learning. How do you connect all the dots? How do you put together the difference between marketing and advertising? What it is to sell? And by the way, here, I'm going to give you a tip. This is $1 million tip. Want to make $1 million bucks? Learn to do this one thing here. Here's $1 million idea. Don't sell products. You heard me right. Don't sell products. Products should sell themselves. If you're good at establishing a brand, look at Amazon. Let's take it as an example. Amazon is a company that is a brand. Their job, they don't produce product. Now they have some products now and whatnot over time. They've evolved and they have some different products that they offer. But they got big because they didn't sell their own products. They were a connector. They got their start because they knew how to take people who wanted something and connect them with people that had what they wanted. They were connectors. They're brokers. That's what they did, and that's what if you'll notice. But I don't care if it's Facebook, Google, or whatever, they become experts at connecting people at what they want. If they want a social platform, well, they have a way of providing that social platform. In Amazon, you want product experts. They started out selling books. But you think about anything else you want in life, and you'll probably be able to find it in Amazon. They grew based on not selling product, but creating a brand wherein people feel safe in buying that product. That's $1 million idea right there. If you learn to do that, you call your ticket. Whatever it is you want in time freedom, financial freedom, whatever you want in life, learn to do that. Learn that you can be a personal brand. You can create a brand, and within that brand, provide whatever it is people want. Now, you might target your market for people who want something specific. That's fine. I mean, Amazon started with books. You might be a photography nut. You want to start with cameras. You might be a sportsman. You want to start with fishing poles. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter whatever that product is. If you become good at connecting people with a desire, with people who can fulfill that desire, then you've got it. But you don't get there by focusing only on the product, because there's a lot of people out there focusing on product. You're going to make $1 million on this, I guarantee you. If you really learn, you go through the steps. Have your vision, take the time to learn from the best, know what it is to be motivated, understand what success is, make a daily effort toward what you want. You do that, connect that up, and ultimately you're going to see a future that's fulfilled one day at a time, piece by piece. You will live your dream. Absolutely, no question, it works. A little frustration? You bet. And as soon as you find yourself frustrated, it's the old, hallelujah, I'm frustrated because on the other side of this I'm going to have something great. Want to be that? If you want to be in that category, you can. I'm not going to go a lot longer in this video. I just wanted to share with you some thoughts, a place to start, because there's going to be so much here for you, and I even have a mentor to recommend for you and whatnot. But I want to see what I want to do. My job is to help connect you to what you want in fulfilling your dreams and the life that you've always thought would be an awesome life to live, and maybe you never thought you could. But guess what? Anybody can. It's not about how brilliant you are. It's how willing you are to learn what you need to learn, to follow in the footsteps who have done what you want to do. Sounds pretty basic? It is. Success is the daily realization of a worthwhile ideal or goal. You want change? Do what the big guys do. You want to understand how you marry what they did with what you want, your vision, and work on that a little bit. We're going to talk a lot about vision as we go forward. You want to know how you ultimately get there. It's not enough to have a dream. You need the dream, but you got to start someplace. So where do you start? Start today. Pick up a book. Do some things. Make up your mind. Take the time to figure out where your real purpose in life is. Take the time to do that. That's where you start. Okay? So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to have a ton of stuff for you. Ton of stuff. I'm going to open up a bunch of things to make available to you that put you on that road to getting where you want. So let me encourage you. Success is the daily realization of a worthwhile ideal or goal. So let's have a successful day. And with that, I will talk to you again soon. Be well and embrace that change. Thank you. Talk to you again soon. God bless.